Good morning. It is 5:40, I believe. The hubby just left, and I am sitting here catless. I'm only one call away. Sorry about that. He called to tell me that pennies I put on the dashboard fell down into the vent in the front windshield, and when he turned the defroster on, the pennies would not let the vent door close all the way, so now there's air coming out of something. I don't know. I don't know. Anyhow, it is now 5:45 in the morning, and I'm sitting here with my coffee cup. My lovely coffee cup. We are all mad here. Favorite cup. Of course, I do also like my John Deere cup that I have, but it fits my entire face. You go to drink out of it, and it's all the way up to here. But we are sitting here. I am sitting here. Meowless, catless. I gave in and let him outside last night. The little one decided to not be hobbly anymore. So I opened the door and let him go outside. There's no telling where they are. When they get hungry enough, though, we'll come back. Probably hobbly again, since he's better now. But, I did one video while he was here. It was a small one of him starting to pack up his bag. He doesn't like cameras. And he doesn't like his belly on camera, which I was dumb enough to sit the camera down over here till when I got up to help, and I realized I don't like my butt on camera. But that's just something we have to deal with. As of Friday, I kind of had a, which I gotta call back in a little while. I need to clarify one small detail before I say it out loud to anyone here. Because I don't want to say the wrong thing and have misquoted the people. But after the hell in a high water moments I had all last week with our son, Friday was kind of like a woosah moment for me. I still have a fair bit of burden and guilt for him, because still, in any event, this is my child. We're his parents. We're supposed to know how to fix these things, and we don't have the education involved. Not just, okay, we didn't pay attention to school, we're dumb people. No, I don't have the psychology degree. I'm not a psychotherapist. I don't know how to deal with these issues that he has. And one thing I can say is I thought that out of all the people that were supposed to be helping our child, that DSS was the one that was going to screw me over the most in the long run. And I apologize for that now. I fully admit I jumped to conclusions, and I am wrong. Or was wrong in my assumption that I was being set up. But still, there is a small, tiny part I need to clarify before I say more on that. But we have a decision, and I think deep down both of us have already realized that this is how it's going to have to go because this is going to be the only way to get him the help that he needs. His center where he's at, I have no problem saying the name, New Hope Carolinas, Rock Hill, South Carolina. I won't say his therapist's name, but it's a very clinical place. It's a psychiatric hospital in one side or the other of it, and it is a refurbished old hospital, you know, but there's a level of care there that our son has talked himself into believing he doesn't need, and unfortunately this is going to be his undoing. This is the reason that this decision is having to be made this way. Is he gonna hate us for it? Probably. Is he gonna be very angry with us? Probably. Is he gonna hold on to that anger forever and never want to speak to us again? I hope not, but probably. He seems to have a knack for wanting to victim blame for what happened and has no empathy at all for what happened. And I actually don't have it in here with me, but his facility, his therapist, sent us a 20-page packet on his treatment plan with monthly notations every time we had a meeting, all the way back from he got there in September. I think it started in October. And every single month it is stated that he does not need to return home. This is not an environment he needs to be in. They have talked with him about his triggers, what makes him want to act out the way he is acting out, and unfortunately all of his triggers live in this house. Me, his sister, his brothers, it's all us. And I've said it before, and I will continue to say it every day until the day somebody understands and realizes he is just like an addict. He has addictive personality. He has addictive tendencies. I have been told to research sociopathic tendencies and psychopathic tendencies. And he has a lot of traits of both of them, more of the psychopathic tendencies than the sociopathic tendencies. One or the other. Anyhow, I'll go to that second. I will continue to say it. My son is an addict. And when someone is an addict, a recovering alcoholic, a recovering, for lack of a better term, junkie, is recovered, they still have those triggers in them. They still have a sensitivity to what was their downfall to begin with. So you don't take an alcoholic who is no longer, or a person who was once an alcoholic, and take them to the bar. Especially not their first few days, weeks, months back on the wagon, you know. You don't take them to the bar. You don't take a junkie out to the street corner. You don't take a person whose profession at one time or another was selling themselves to be able to support whatever it was, their children, their family, their habit, whatever. You don't take them, you know, back to the alleyways. You don't put someone who is trying to better themselves back in the situation that made them fall to begin with. And unfortunately for our child, like I said, all of his triggers that make him want to act out, be violent, hurt people, we're all in one place. We are all a collective, which means he can't be here with us. And I don't like knowing that it's his family that loves him, that wants him to be here, that he can't be around. We have the opportunity, since Kenneth is leaving next week, he's got a week from today, and he will be in Georgia starting his new job, and I will be doing this by myself, which I'm doing it by myself now, the video thing, but not the family thing. But he'll be back on the weekends for the first little bit, and then we'll get him 3 days out of the month. But oh, the 3 days when we get him. But we get to go see Wade on Saturday, and we have to try to sit and explain to him why we made our decision, the information behind how we came up with it, and I want to be able to say something to him, and I'm going to say it here, and if it sounds horrible and wrong, I'm sorry, but this is how I feel, and it's that, I've had so many people ask me why I even bothered to stay. I've had so many people ask me, why didn't you just take your birth children and leave? Why are you dealing with this day in and day out? Why are you letting a child affect you so much? But when you really, really love your children, as I assume that all parents love their children, I've got two prime examples, one that's no longer in our life and one that won't go the fuck away. Sorry. That are prime examples of parents who really don't give a dang. They use the time with their children as college frat and sorority parties. It's like you come and you hang out for a few days, you bang who you want to bang, you drink and do what you want to do, and you play your video games, and then you go back to the real world. It's like they've become a mini vacation. Which I know I'll have issues with that later on as the smaller boys get older. But I now know at 16 years old, there's a military school not far down the road. I can stick any boy in that I have, and there's a few of them that are signed up for it. As I am not going to deal with it. I will not deal with it. But I feel in a way, well, not in a way, I feel as the woman who stepped in and plays the role as his mother, I feel like I'm being punished for sins of someone else. I feel like the anger and the hatred he has for her pours over onto me because I am the only person there. And I do agree sometimes that maybe he has done some of the things he has done because he's used to females leaving. He's used to the moms leaving. And he does things on purpose to push us away. And he found one that loves him in spite of whatever horrible deed he does. And whether it is a biological child or a stepchild or a foster child or someone else's child you're just responsible for taking care of. You don't give up on a kid. When your heart and your life is invested and wrapped up and intertwined in your family unit and you live for that family, you don't give up on anybody. Us making the decision that we have to make is not giving up on him. It's putting him in a situation to where he gets the help he needs. Does it suck? Yes, it does. Is it hard for us to say these things to him on Saturday? Most definitely. I mean, I know he loves me, but there is hatred in him like you would not believe. And all it's going to do is make him more and more angry at me. I mean, I'm his mom. I represent the person who destroyed him, and I'm being punished for it, and I am sick of it. I am not the woman who did these things to him. I am not the person who abused him. I'm not the person who ignored and neglected him. I am not the person who put my disgusting needs and habits in front of my children. But I am the one who is suffering for those sins. And whether he can ever be able to separate the two of us, I don't know. I kind of feel bad if he can't, because I didn't do these things to him, and I love him, and I do my damnedest to show him how much I love him. Yes, there was talk not too long ago about me taking the other children and leaving just so that he would be able to come home. But then that puts my husband in a bind, because whether he stayed with the new job or whether he stayed with his old job, he's gone the majority of the day. He has just left here at 5:30. He won't make it back home until almost 7 o'clock tonight. So if Wade were to come home and nobody else was here, what's he going to do with himself all day long? He can't be trusted to be in the house without doing something, or fear of doing something. Not that he actually really would, but there's that fear there because of things that he's done in the past. So we can't really, that was never an idea that was going to work. And I put myself through all kinds of hell believing that it would. And having gone through what we went through on Friday, I feel considerably better. Like I said, there are a few things I need to clarify. But I was told as long as we have the paperwork from his center that, makes these statements about his personality and his behavior and his attitude and, the threats that he's made towards the family, that's basically the only option that his center is giving us. They are passing the buck. They are not wanting to do their job by saying, okay, he doesn't meet this level of care, this is where he needs to go, and doing this research to find a facility that he can go to. Oh, and just an FYI, I was told they can go 30 to 45 minutes over the state line. I don't know if it's for any insurance or if it's just for South Carolina. If you ever have this problem, look it up. Ask an insurance person. Ask the DSS in your state. Just ask somebody. But they are allowed to go 30 to 45 minutes into a neighboring state. If they find a facility that will take your child and they have the care that at the level that they need, they are allowed to go there. The insurance will take care of it for the first 30 days. After 30 days, they become a citizen of that, or legal resident of that state. And then the insurance can flip over to wherever it is. You got a friend in that state? Guess what? You can put them on your paperwork saying they can sign for you until you get there. They can have legal right to put a signature on a piece of paper to get your kid treatment if something happens until you physically get there with your kid. All the stuff that I heard on Friday, I was so pissed off. I was upset thinking DSS could take my kids away from me. I am pissed to know that a facility that is in charge of taking care of my son, that has a greater reach of resources, greater wealth of resources than me and his dad could ever possibly think of having. 45 days of DCS being involved, trying to get us referrals. I got 2 group homes and an alternative school. That's it. That's what I got. I Googled and Googled and Googled. Google is my friend. I love Google. So many places. That's where I came up with the military school. Oh, tick me off when you're a teenager. You are gone, buddy. I do agree with my husband though. I think that boys do need that because we have so many wussy little boys nowadays. It's unreal. But I do think that every boy needs that. I think they need that kind of reinforcement. But I did so much work, trying to find places, and I don't even know like the right words to put in. I just put in what was going on in our situation and came up with maybe a half a dozen, 10 at the most. Excuse me. To call, and because of his situation, no one was willing to help. Because of his issue, no one's willing to help. Well, we can't risk this. We can't risk that. I can't put him in regular school because he's a risk. The alternative school says they prefer that he doesn't come there. You can't turn him down. You got to teach him. The alternative school would have been 7 hours of the day that he was out of the house. Problem is, he can't be in the house. He cannot be here with us. What am I supposed to do? Stick him in a tree? I mean, I don't want to wake up dead. I don't want to wake up with one of my children harmed, him harming himself. I don't know. So, anyways, I've got a few phone calls to make today. Actually, I've got a lot of phone calls to make today. To find out some information, some tidbit wise. And his therapist is supposed to call me to see if the insurance was able to give him another 30 days or not, to see if they graced us with this blessing. Sarcasm dripping. After I spoke with them on Friday, after I found out a few things, that they cannot do a unsafe discharge, and if they know that our child is a danger and they release him, that is an unsafe discharge. We have to get it in writing that they know that he will more than likely, or is more than capable of harming people in the house when he returns, that they know this and they release him anyways, which means they are held liable, which means all kinds of legalness and attorneys and judges, because you knew that our child was not safe, you put him back where you knew he was not supposed to be, and you're responsible for whatever damage he does. They were very quiet, and they rushed me off the phone. They got very pissy after that comment that I made. So, it's like I told my husband, I don't know if this is an actual real insurance issue, or if this is, I don't know what this is. But she's supposed to call me sometime today to let me know whether or not the insurance agreed for him to stay or not. But I have to make a phone call first, and hopefully I get the return call before I get the other phone call. But we're still going to go see him on Saturday, and we're going to sit down and we're going to talk. And he's not going to be happy. We are not happy with the decision that we may have to make, but there's a lot more peace and less fear on my part, because now I know we have this option. It's just whether or not we get the backlash from it once we make it. But we will find out. And I will let you know this afternoon, hopefully without 3 tiny little monsters coming in here and interrupting me again. They were brave enough to get in the lake yesterday. 3 days ago it snowed. Yesterday they were in the lake. We live on one, they have fun, they can go out in all they want to. It's not that deep. I don't have to worry. But I will be back in a little while, and we'll go from there.